All right. We are live. We are live. Welcome to the BRL conversation, and this is episode 8. It's always a wonderful time to be here and to enjoy the BRL conversation. It's one conversation that you would definitely enjoy how it flows from the business side of things to the relationship and also to lifestyle. That's how we pan it out here on the BRL conversation. And we've been having fantastic guests all the way. We started this in September and this is November and we're hitting home stretch. We'll keep on bringing you fantastic guests which you get to nominate. That's the beautiful thing about this conversation, about this show. You get to choose who you want to see on the BRL conversation, who the next guest is. And definitely the person we'll be having here tonight is going to be somebody you guys asked me to bring right here into the studio. And he will be joining us today, to give us his own insights about business, relationship, and lifestyle. So if you are here right now, you're welcome once more to the BRL conversation. I just want to see you drop in your comments, say hi, drop an emoji if you are here, if you can hear me loud and clear. Just let me know that you can see me. It will be a pleasure to really have you right here join us in the conversation. We're a few minutes late, but of course, you know how it goes. Well, trust me, you're going to have a swell time right here. But before we go right into inviting the special guest we have for tonight, I want you to share this, drop this, share this live everywhere for your friends and family to join us here and, enjoy this conversation. All right, just do well to, of course, share it wide and everywhere on your status, on your Facebook timeline, and tell them we are live. All right, they should join the conversation. It's going to be sweet, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be we're going to have a swell time together. All right, the person who will be inviting to join us up tonight is, just in case you don't have the link that you could share with your friends to join us, I will be dropping a link right now in the comment section, so you can just copy it and share. All right, that's the link right there in the comment section. So you could just copy that link and share it far and wide so that people could also join. Once they click on the link, they'll join us live here. You'll see me live and they can join quickly so that we can have a sweet conversation. So the person we'll be having here tonight is a fantastic man, a man who sometimes I wonder how he combines his profession with what he does. He's a gentle, easygoing man who has also done a lot of stuff in human capital development, and he has really touched lives in his own way. And it's always be a pleasure to have him. I've been in conversation with him on different stages in different studios. It's always a pleasure to have him again join us here tonight. But before I bring him up here, of course, I can already see he's live here in the studio. But before I bring him up to the studio to start up the conversation, I'll be given the honors of reading out his profile so you know who this man is. Just in case you don't know who he is, this profile will help you to understand our guest better. So his name is Dr. Clinton Kadochi. Dr. Clinton Kadochi is a medical professional, dynamic leader, published author, professional speaker, professional counselor, mental health and cognitive behavior expert, and an educator. All right, Dr. Clinton is an avid enthusiast of behavioral science and leadership, including personal development and organization team building. As an open-minded person, he has been able to integrate his educational background with other passion and use them as tools with which he contributes to the world through authoring, counseling, coaching, mentoring, facilitating educative programs, and masterclasses. As a professional speaker trained under Toastmasters, he has developed his brand as Dr. Clinton Kadochi and engaged in different speaking platforms, sharing and teaching on subjects related to behavioral science, leadership, and mental health, and of course, faith. Dr. Clinton is certified in positive psychiatry and mental health, dynamic leadership, and trainer of trainers. He was the second best international public speaker under 2021-2022 Toastmasters International Division, right, in Malawi and Zimbabwe. He is the current club president of Lusaka Executive Toastmasters. Of course, he's also the co-founder and chairperson of Agents of Progress platform and ambassador of CIPA Africa. He is also a consultant and associate lecturer at Blessing College of Health Sciences. He is also the host of a show called Conversations That Changes Lives with Dr. Clinton Kadochi, where he invites different psychologists and mental health champions to talk about life-changing topics around adverse child experiences. He was the 2022 finalist of the Mental Health and Wellbeing category under, of course, Zenith Global Health Awards in UK and in the 2019 Inspirational Author under Elevra Authors Award in China. Dr. Clinton Kadochi is a columnist for Southern African Toastmasters magazine, a book reviewer, and published author. That's not all. Just in case you don't know how fantastic this man is, I will wrap up with this. He lives life on his mantra: I am a person of value who values people and add value to people's lives. Dr. Clinton is a friend, a brother, and a mentor to different people, and that's how he decides to honor the world and, of course, live his life. So that is the amazing man we're having tonight, and you see how big his profile is. In fact, if it were in those days, they would say, I don't know if I have, the power to lose the lace of his shoe, but trust me, he's not that kind of person. He's a very humble man. Despite all his achievements, he's somebody who's always ready to give and share value anytime he's called upon. And trust me, he's also here right now, ready again to dish out value to as many persons who would get hold of this session and enjoy the value that comes with it. So at this moment, we would invite him to come up, while we kick off that conversation. This is your time for you to join us live. Just while we wait for him to come up, I'm sure he'll come up shortly. We have a couple of persons who are, yes. He is here. Welcome, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you get me?
Yeah, I can, but not very clear.
Yes, good evening. I can get you, but I don't think you can get me.
Yeah, I can, but it's not quite. Let me see if I can use my earpiece if it's going to be better. But I can get you clear. Okay, to speak now. Let me see if it's better for me. Hello, Doc. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, Dr. Clinton? Oh, I think he can't hear me. Can you hear me, Doctor?
The line is flipping. I don't know if it's my network, but I can't get you at the moment.
Oh, okay. I can hear you clearly. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. If you just keep speaking, let me be sure that your line is clear. I don't know if you, can you hear me, Doctor? Oh, wow. All right. I think it's having some technical issues at its end. But those who are listening, please let us know if you can hear me clearly. Let me know you can hear me clearly. Just drop it in the comment section if my voice is loud and clear and you can hear me without any glitch. Please drop me in the comment section that my audio is very good for you to hear what I can say or what I'm saying currently. I want to know that in the comment section. So if you can hear me clearly, please drop it in the comment section. Let me be sure that it's not from my end, that you guys can hear me so we can have a fantastic conversation. Of course, audio is very important for live conversations like this. If it's not clear enough, then we can't have. Oh, thank you very much, Chiamaka Global. You can hear me clearly. So I think it's the doctor that is having a little problem at his own end. You know, of course, he's joining us from far away, Zambia. Yeah, he used to be in China, but I think he's currently in Zambia. So I hope there's no network problems where he is. I hope he can also join us up again so that we can have this conversation. Thank you, Maureen Chabala. I think I got that correctly. Chabala, thank you, Maureen Chabala, for that. Yes, I just wanted to be sure you could hear me clearly. So while we're waiting for Doctor, let me take this time to recognize everyone else who is already here with us. I can see the gift Kangele. I hope I got that correctly. The gift Kangele. Well, thank you for joining us. I can also see, of course, the CEO of 𝐒𝐻𝐶 Digital Consult right here, Dr. I said Dr. I said Dr. 𝐒𝐻𝐶. Yes, of course. He has been conferred that title of Dr. 𝐒𝐻𝐶 Dabo, so that will not be wrong. All right. Yes, I can see him. He's the birthday man. He celebrated birthday a couple of days ago, and we are still basking in that euphoria of how the internet was shut down during his birthday. That's 𝐒𝐻𝐶 Dabo. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Yes, Maureen, of course, Chabala, thank you also for joining. I can also see Uzoma. Thank you also for joining. That's a long time no see, Uzoma. Thank you for joining us at this live conversation. Of course, the ever-present Chamaka Global. Thank you also for joining us tonight. I think let's see if we can have Dr. Clinton come back so that we can have this conversation. Trust me, nothing is going to stop us from this conversation tonight. It's going to be a fantastic one. Yes, Doctor is back. And I hope he can join us again so that we can kick off the conversation. Welcome back, Doctor.
Hello? Can you get me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Oh, yes. Now I can get you. I think we can. Good to go now.
All right. Okay, so well, I can hear you with feedback at my end, and that's actually obstructing my hearing abilities. There's a feedback coming back to my ears. I think you're using double devices or something, so I think that's why it's bouncing a little.
Okay, is it there now?
Let me speak and see if it. I think it's still there. Okay, it's off now. It's fine. It's fine now. So maybe speak if I can hear you.
Okay, so I think I will be muting after I speak.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly?
I can get you clearly. I can get you clearly now.
All right. So that's fine. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So guys, we are live now with the amazing Dr. Clinton Kadochi, and he is one man I respect so much because I really wonder how he juggles so many things that he does. You know, especially with the medical profession, which I know it's a very noble profession and it requires so much and from you as an individual. Yes, he tries to, see dish out value, try in and out, week in, week out. So sometimes I'm like, how does this man do it? So maybe we should start this way. Aside from being a doctor, what other things do you do? I'm sure a lot of other persons may want to know. I know I've read your profile out there, but let's just start from that part. Apart from being a medical doctor, what other things do you do that make up the man, Dr. Clinton Kadochi?
All right, thank you very much. I hope I heard you correctly because my internet at the time was but I think the question is, aside being a medical doctor, what else do I do? Not so.
Yeah.
All right. So firstly, to start with, I just want to appreciate for having me on your show. I think this is a show that I actually didn't know of, but I just got to know as a result of the nominations that I received last week. And so thank you so much to everybody that wanted me to be here, and I think it's a great privilege and an honor, and I definitely couldn't resist it. I had to come through. And getting to the question, I am a person that is quite passionate on a number of things, and so I try to intersect a lot of things that I get to do in relation to things that are in line with my profession and my passions as well. And so all these things stem from my mantra that I've been living by for some time now, which is basically I am a person of value who values people and adds value to people through my passion and profession. So I have concerns in a number of different areas that help me to actually live the kind of life that I live. And so I am into personal development, and that's because I believe that we are people that need to evolve, we need to change, we need to improve, we need to transform, we need to be exposed, and the exposure that we have will determine the composure that we get to have when we get to face different things in life. And so because of that, I have invested in personal development quite intensively, I would say. And I have been able to associate myself with platforms that would be able to help me achieve all these things that are in the area of personal development. And so aside the medical side, the area that I've really invested in is personal development. And for me, it helps me to be able to articulate myself better, because I believe that every person has a message. And whatever message that you have, you need to package it in a way that you are either able to communicate it through speaking, communicate it through authoring, communicate it through training. And so that is what I do. So aside the medical doctor, I am a public speaker. I am a professional speaker. I consider myself a professional speaker, trained under Toastmasters International. And because I'm under Toastmasters International, I am also a part of the club officers under the very organization, heading a club in Zambia called Lusaka Executive Toastmasters. Beside that, I help people get to learn just how to make progress in life, because we understand that there are a number of people that are stuck somewhere in life. And so with my dedication to personal development, we have a platform called Agents of Progress platform. This is a platform where we get to have different masterclasses, different trainings, where we help people achieve progress, and that has really come in quite handy. So in that area, I am a coach. I'm called a progress coach. I simply help people to make progress in life. Then aside that, this is somewhat in relation to my profession. I am not only a medical doctor, but I'm also a therapist as well. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist, and so I'm into mental health services. I am much dedicated in areas that would help people understand their childhood and then get to sort the problems that they get to have as an adult. So these are briefly the things that I do. My services are book reviewing. I get to write different forwards for different people's books. I give therapy sessions, I do train workshops, and I recently got into the corporate world where I get to give capacity building trainings for different organizations and companies, all that stemming from the aspect of helping people understand their emotional intelligence. So that's a bit of the services that I get to give and a bit of what I do. I hope that includes the question.
Wow. You call this a bit of what you do. I'm already flabbergasted by the number of things you have mentioned that you do. You say just a bit. So the next question is, how have you been able to manage all these things with your profession? Or are you not a practicing medical doctor? How do you combine all these things you've mentioned? You know, the human capacity building, the mental health aspects, the book reviews, and all these things you have mentioned. How do you combine them and it doesn't affect work? How have you been able to do that? I think we'd like to learn that secret. Tell us.
All right, so here's the thing. I recently I was in China. I recently relocated to my country, Zambia, a few weeks ago. And so my schedule has quite changed. I'm transitioning. You know, I'm still getting to settle and all that. But before, when I was in China, I think that's when I had to work quite a lot. I should confess I overloaded myself because I would work in different time zones. I would work with the time zone in China, and I'd also work with the time zone in Central Africa because most of my community was in Central Africa. And I did that intentionally because I knew that in a few months, rather in a few years, I would be getting back to Africa. So I needed to have a community that I would get back to when I come back to Africa. So that's what made me to be quite dedicated online, ensuring that my community is still alive and I'm still relevant to them. And so despite the work that I was doing in China, despite the activities that required me to be available in China, I still had to schedule in time where I would be available for my African community in the evening. And oftentimes I would be awake by 01, 02 China time, just so that I would show up for my community in Africa. And that's because I value these people, because they are the reason why I actually studying what I'm studying. So when I was in China, I wasn't practicing there. I was specializing part of what I went to study back in 2013. So I was in China for about 8 years. And that's because the number of things that I was doing there was in relation to what I wanted to come and do here in Zambia. And so now that I'm back in Zambia, I'm now getting to establish myself and now getting to see how well I can try to maximize on my schedules and do that, because already I'm not managing to be available for a number of things that I was available for when I was in China, because now I am here and I'm getting to push a number of things and do that. So when it comes to time management, it was basically sacrifice. I can tell you this truth. I wasn't having enough sleep, but it was a sacrifice that I knew was only temporary. I knew that I had to invest. I knew that I had to be able to be in contact with different key people that I would need once I am on the African soil. And that in itself helped me to be able to grow the audience that I now have, to have a network of people that value what I do and are available whenever I would be in need of something. So I managed to manage my time because of compartmentalization, if I'm to call it. I would literally compartmentalize a particular time for activities in China, particular time for my sleep. I would sleep for a maximum of 4 hours. And then I would wake up around 0-something, which would be literally evening time in the African setup. And there I invested and later on had an hour nap and woke up and went for work. So that was what I was doing.
Wow, no, that's great, great. I can just imagine, having to close your eyes for 4 hours and then you're up again and you just have to meet up with, especially the different time zones. That could be very, 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 it's like you have to do a lot of sacrifice to make that happen. Sometimes it could be like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then, you just have to be there. Just at some other area, it is maybe 7 p.m. or thereabout, and it's cool for them. But, still putting up on our parents, it's quite difficult. You've been able to do that. I can't remember any of the invites you've had from us that you have turned down. I don't know how you're doing, but you've always showed up. And I'm sure it's not been as easy as just coming up and showing your face and smiling on the screen. I know a whole lot of work would have gone on, in between, but that's what makes you who you are. And like you said, the sacrifices, I picked that part because I know as a doctor, you understand the essence of sleep. That sleep is important, So for you to say it's temporal, that sends a lot of message for people to understand that sleep is important, okay? Well, of course, sometimes you need to sacrifice it to, for a greater good, but do not sacrifice it forever so that you don't get into some other sleeping disorder. You'd have to, suffer from that aspect. Okay, so yeah, that's amazing to know. Now let me ask this question. I think a lot of persons want to know, because I also know you've been in China. So what was the main reason why you came back to Zambia? What was that plan that brought you back to Zambia? And what do you hope to achieve now that you are in Zambia? I think you should let the cat out of the bag. Let's know. Yeah, because you're in the African soil, and we are glad to have you back in Africa.
Thank you very much. Why I am back to Zambia, it's because I am a son of the soil. I'm proud to be African, and I believe that I have a purpose to do in my homeland, and that's not only Zambia, but even the other countries that I've managed to have a network in. And I am back for a purpose, and I think it is time for us to be able to work on a number of different things that need attention. Now, I'm not saying I have solutions to everything. I'm saying that there is a contribution that I'm able to make in the smallest sense that would change people's lives. And so I am completely done with everything that I was doing in China, but I still have a few connections that would be able to help me in relation to anything that I would need from that side to here in Africa. And so now that I'm back, I would want to establish a few things that I think was quite a limitation when I was online, because I managed to conduct different programs and masterclasses online. But here now, I have the privilege to do them physically. I have the privilege to meet people in person. I have the privilege to get to the offices that I couldn't get to when I was online. And all these things would help me to just spread out the vision that I have for my country and be able to be that person of value that values people and adds value to people from an in-person perspective. So I have a mission, I am on a vision, and that is literally something that I'm already seeing unfolding. I have already been doing a few things in the short time that I've gotten back. Yesterday I was on a TV show. We were talking about something that is quite important to my heart again, which is mental health and adverse childhood experiences. And so we already have quite a lot of other programs that we have set, and I get on them and just try to mark the years that I've been away. So yes, I'm here for a mission, and I'm back because Zambia and Africa is my, a native land, and I am a fan of the world.
All right, that's lovely to hear. It's very quite interesting to hear that you have a whole lot you want to do with your native country, and for the 8 years you spent in China, you never forgot that you're a son of the soil. And maybe, who knows, someday we'll see you going for the president of the country. Maybe that will come true in the next couple of years. Nothing is impossible. It starts with a dream. So fantastic. I always tell people again that you can't. For those who are from Africa, especially, it's a rich heritage we have here in Africa. It's something that you don't find in any other continent. The heritage of Africa is quite rich, and anyone who's not tapping into this rich heritage, because you feel that Africa is like in the third world countries and the rest of them, you are really missing a lot. There's so much value. There's so much to enjoy. So much rich culture. There's so much heritage to enjoy here. And it's even going to be more like you impacting the world from that grassroots where you think they are and moving them to the first world level of knowledge. So it's an interesting ride for anyone who is passionate about people and human capital development. And I know that's one thing I can't take away from you. And so kudos for what you do. So let me ask this question before we leave the business aspect. So you're in the business side of the things you've been doing. How has business been so far this time around? Because business has to do with making money while you're serving the people or serving your customers. Whatever you're doing, there has to be some return. So what have been the experience so far in that aspect? What have been the challenges you have faced also, and what are the lessons you have learned in your journey? And even the one you're about to start now in Zambia, I'm not just, what are the things you already foresee that are going to be some of the challenges you will face?
All right, I think that's an interesting question, because we are all trying to ensure that we are financially stable and we are creating, wealth. And that definitely has been something that I have been on. I have learned quite many different lessons, and that's because I've been a person that has believed that we should always take advantage of our advantage. And oftentimes our advantage can be your location. And so when I was located in China, think I had a good advantage there because I was in a place that was an abundance of supply of different things. And so because of that, I got into different businesses where I would literally supply people digital products and many other different products that they would want to get from it. And so that was the first thing that I would want to talk about as part of the business that I was into. And so I would literally supply people with things that they would want. And so I would be that, middle person to bring whatever it is that they would want from Asia to Africa. And so that was quite key for me because there was good commission and these other things that would come with just being able to supply people. So I was into that, into the supply chain exchange and all that. Then the other thing that I would also just want to talk about in relation to business is what I began last year. Now, this is something that I haven't publicized much because I am still setting structures to help me in a way that it would, be part of what I get to do in my next project because I have a project for this. So I would also print books for people in China. Remember, I said that the location was the advantage for me, and so because of the good pricing that we have, or rather we had in China, I was able to print different books for people that would want books in bulk. So that was another business that I was into. So most people that would be authors and they would want to print their books in hard copy, I was the person that they would get in touch to, and I would have different printing companies that would come on board and would be able to print the books and ship them. So that was a good and still is a good business that I am into. And aside that, I also offer therapy sessions. Now, my therapy sessions are at the charge because we are literally offering the professional advice and professional skills. And so much of what we do from that perspective of therapy, and I in particular, is that we help people understand the coping skills that they need, and we get to give them material that would be able to help them become the person that they want to become. And so therapy is one of another income stream that I have because I don't just talk and give advice, but I talk and help people to get to understand the things that they may be struggling with. So we do that at the charge. I don't know if I should be able to say that or we'll share that at the end. Yes, but that is also one of the things that I do.
We'll get to that later.
And Okay, we'll tell later. All right. Yes. Then aside that, as a professional speaker and trainer, I am booked on different speaking engagements and also different training sessions. So most of the organizations or companies that would need anything in relation to what I talk about, it could be mental health talks, it could be emotional intelligence, but mostly the ones that most people get to book me on are around emotional intelligence in the corporate world or in the working space. It could be in the company, and also just those that would want to understand a number of things that have to do with their childhood experiences. So in the speaking business, that's also something that I do, and it has been helpful. Now, I do different things that are in relation to investments. Okay, I do different things that are in relation to investments, but then I would not really get into that. I think the services that I've talked about are the ones that I would literally just want to share here. And before that, just the stress, and that's the fact that you always have to take advantage of your advantage. We all have advantages. You may be in a calamity situation, you may be in a place where you feel as though all things are not on your side, but there's always an advantage to any place that you are in. And that in itself is what gets to help you to know just how best you would be able to pitch up in most of the business opportunities or advantages that you may get to have. So I've had my downsides of things, but I've been able to know that there are times that you make a loss, and there are also times that you would have to understand that that loss is basically a lesson that you learn for you to be able to do better next time. So I have not had an easy road. I have had my own trends of losses, but it is the perspective that I have about those losses, because life is not necessarily about overcoming, it's about becoming. So we are already overcomers, but what determines now is what we become as a result of the things that we get to go through, as a result of the losses, the lessons, and every other wins that we would get to have. So that's picked from the different business adventures and opportunities that I've had.
Okay, so can you, yes, you've mentioned tons of things you do, and of course you said you've had your fair share of losses, which it's normal for anyone who is in business. You'd expect that, it's not always going to be rosy. There's going to be some downtime, but it's all part of the learning experience, part of the process. Success is not sweet without these failures in between. If it's just a smooth road all through, which can only happen in heaven, not on earth, then you've not really experienced business in its best form and its worst form. So what you said, we believe you've had the ups and downs, and that all forms your business experience. So when someone is counting, I have 5 years of business experience, 10 years, and the rest of them in a particular kind of business, it means they know both the downtime and the uptime, and then that experience even can be sold as a service to those who are probably upcoming, so that they don't make the same mistakes that we would have made while we're coming on. So let me ask this question. I need you to be a bit more specific. Can you cite one of the very rough times you had in this business experience? One of those very particular ones you could remember that was quite a turning point, or quite an eye-opener for you, especially when you maybe during your starting time and in either public speaking or human capital development or whichever area. What was that one particular experience that you would hardly forget? But then, of course, at the end of the day, it was a good experience that had helped you to build to where you are. So can you just cite one of them for us? Sorry, your mic is muted.
Okay. Can you get me? I didn't get your question quite clear. It was a bit glitchy at some point, yeah. But I heard something about an experience that I've learned. Is it?
So I said, can you just give us one of the very critical experiences you learned that was not quite good? Maybe one business deal that didn't go well, or one decision you made in the business that was not too good, and then of course you learned from it and you overcome that. Just one particular experience that you could remember.
All right. Okay. So when it comes to business and just marketing, I am more into investment. So I am more into investment. I'm not much into product. So I'm into giving service and also investment. So investments is one thing that I'm literally big on. So much of my lessons when it comes to these matters of investments have really been on just getting to understand that for whatever investments that I have to make, there is need for me to understand the whole process, the whole system. I need to know the whole system. I need to know how it works, how I'll get my returns and the advantages of the investment on a long term. And I think this is something that I was not really good at back in the day, because whenever I would have an opportunity where somebody would literally help me see that if you invest in this much, you would gradually have this and this in this period of time and all these other things, I would literally invest in different, in different things at times, even in a week. And with the hopes that everything would be able to, work out in the next weeks and all that. But I realized that when it comes to money, business, and all these things, it's important that you do not just invest because you have the money. It's important that you understand that for whatever money that you have, you need to ensure that you are patient enough to understand the procedure of these investments and get to know how they would be able to benefit you even on a long-term basis. And so the fact that you have money doesn't mean you can afford the investment. The fact that you have money doesn't mean that you can be able to be open to any financial opportunities that would come in the name of you getting to make profits. And so I think that was in 2020 and part of 2021 where I lost quite a huge sum of money. And that was because I thought, well, I have the money and so I can invest, or whatever opportunity would come, because the other one didn't work. And so I was impatient and I wanted to, make a huge investment so that I recover the other loss that I made. But then the biggest lesson in everything that I've experienced in investments is understand that whenever you are impatient, it is a sign that you are headed for a loss. Whenever you are impatient when it comes to investment, whenever you are just impatient about something that has come as an opportunity and you are impatient about it, you want to do it, it is a sign that you are about to get in a loss. That is the biggest lesson really that I've got, because for me it always happened in those situations where there would be some element of impatience. And so if at all you are also in that place where you haven't mastered yourself, you haven't mastered patience in your life, it's important that we get to understand that patience is critical. And so it was patience that I began to develop, and it helped me to even learn the things that I had to learn before I invest in any opportunity or venture that would come my way. So patience is critical, and that's the lesson that I think I would bring out. So whenever you're impatient, if you are ever impatient, it is a sign, because impatience is what makes people get into debts. Impatience is what makes people, being bankrupt. Impatience is what would make you have financial crisis. So if you are impatient, you are not going to have financial discipline, and that is the main lesson that I think I would share here. I think you're muted.
Yes, I just saw that now. So because it's a conversation, I'll also share my experience about, especially when it comes to investment and business and all. Yes, a couple of years ago, when this, I don't know, I'm sure maybe you heard about this MMM stuff that was raving everywhere. So then, it came to Nigeria too. We were so excited about it. It gave you hear like you get a 30% ROI in 1 month. It was looking so sweet and so good. Oh wow, just put your money in there and it's going to get 30% in 1 month. So then the commercial banks were doing like in a year you might get like 10% in 1 whole year. And then here comes an MMM telling you that in 30 days you're going to get 30%. So it was wow, it was a big deal. So a lot of persons jumped into it. I was one of those who also jumped into it at that time, and it was looking good initially, until the crash happened. And as at then I had gone to, in fact I had to withdraw the money I had from the bank. I had this fixed deposit there in the bank. I had to go and withdraw it. No, it's not, give it to me. And the bank were telling me, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I want to do it. The ROI is bigger. It was so nice. I withdrew all the money and threw the chunk in there. Like the impatience you're talking about, I wanted to do it. As I did, I was already planning to, take a trip to Ghana, to take a vacation. It was castles in the air I was building. Well, of course, that was that chunk I actually withdrew from the bank, and I nailed the coffin at the end of the day. The money just got sunk, and it was quite an experience. And then, and so the lesson for me I learned was the fact that never, when the ROI seems too good to be true, be careful. That's a flag for you in that investment. That's a flag. It's a flag. You don't just jump. Don't say 30%, and a year you're getting 10% in a year, and you're getting 30% in a month, and that means if you multiply that by 12, how many percent you're looking at. So the difference is quite much huge. Yeah, so it's a red flag for you. Be careful before you jump into it. And again, the second thing again I learned from that is I never go into an investment with all you have, because as of course it could fail, even no matter how good it seemed to be. We've even had cases where even regulated commercial banks have folded up in the country. So no matter how good the investment might seem, do not throw everything you have into it. Always, have an amount reserved for other contingencies just in case it becomes a bad investment. So that for me are just one of the lessons I have learned, and I hope those who would watch this will also learn from that and not fall victims to amazing and surprising and ambiguous ROIs, especially when it comes to investment opportunities. Okay, so moving on, we'll move straight to relationship. So I think this is the first I'm going to ask you. Are you married? Let me ask that question. Let's start from there. Are you married? If yes, how many kids do you have? If no, when will you marry?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Okay.
Come again?
So I said, we're going to the next segment, which is the relationship aspect. So I said, this is the first time I'm going to be asking you this. Are you married? If yes, when was that? How many kids do you have? Or are you no kids yet? Are you expecting kids? If no, where would that be? That's the first question. Let's start from there.
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. And no, I am not married. I am, but I'm seeing somebody. Yeah, I'm not married, but I'm seeing somebody, and the good news will come soon.
All right, guys, you heard that the good news is popping up soon. Keep your fingers crossed. So I would let's continue in these slides. In the relationship journey, of course, I'm sure this is going to be the first person I don't know, I might be wrong. I'm not sure this is the first relationship you've had so far, and you're someone who also understands behavioral patterns of humans and the rest of them. So what has been your experience so far in the relationships you've had? What are the things you've noticed? What are the lessons you have learned? What are the things you feel are deficient in most people that people need to learn and adjust, in making quality relationships? And what's your ideal? How do you see a relationship? Okay, let me not ask too many questions. Let's start with the first one. What have been your experiences so far in the relationship you've had, and what are those things you've noticed that people really need to learn when it comes to being appropriate for relationships?
Okay, so that is an interesting question. I didn't see it coming, but I'm glad that it has come. So, with regards to relationships, really, I think this is an area that now I have come to appreciate because of the different experiences that I've had with different, people. And I think we usually undermine the power of stories. And by that, I simply mean the power of narrative. And so everyone that you get to have a relationship with has a narrative of their life, and they have a narrative of how things have been. It is very much important that we are listeners to hear that narrative, because it is that narrative that will determine even how you're going to stay. And so as a behavior enthusiast or a behavior expert, there are some things that I literally see even on the first date, or rather I used to see even on the first date if I'm just trying to get to know someone. There are some things that I would literally see, and to me there would be red flags, but I'm quite inquisitive, and so I'd want to know more. And so and so you realize that there are some things that you would literally see from the first conversation, just how they are speaking about their life, how they're speaking about their past, how they're speaking about what they would want to know or be with the person that they wish to be with. And so all these things for me would matter, because from there I get to see the narrative that they have. Is it a narrative that is healthy enough? Is it a narrative that has a good self-concept or self-image about themselves? And so I found myself being what I would call a fixer. Okay, I found myself being what I call a fixer, and that is something that I would bring out as a no-go area for anybody that is in a relationship or wants to be in a relationship, or you're trying to know somebody, don't be a fixer, because when you start a relationship trying to be a fixer, you would want to maintain that. And so you would literally, be in a place where you would always want to be fixing some things in the other person's life, beginning from their emotional aspects and every other challenge that they would have. And so it's very critical that we understand that being a fixer at times is not your responsibility. There are times that people just need to be understood, to be validated, and to be heard. These are the things that a lot of people need in relationships. And if you're able to give them that, it will channel the peace and the joy that they need. They will be able to be open enough to share about things that they cannot share about as you are getting to know each other. And so it is very critical that you understand that you are not a fixer, because when you're a fixer, you'd want to be controlling. And that is why I'm saying you shouldn't be a fixer, because the effect of being a fixer is that you'll be a controlling partner. And so most people find themselves with partners that are controlling, and it's because they begin as fixers. They begin as people that want to always fix something in a relationship. So I think in that area, that is what I would literally bring out. But I would also say that it is very much important that you get to that place where you are vulnerable as well in the relationship. Because, for example, guys, we're not that vulnerable when we are in a relationship. We are not in that place where we would let our partners know and see that even us, we need emotional support. Oftentimes, we feel we have everything handled. We feel we have everything, in place. And so that is why most people get to have emotional challenges and they fail to connect. And so the aspect of connection is very much critical, especially in this age where we are driven by social media and every other technological advancement. We need real connection. People don't connect on a deeper level. They connect on a surface level. And that is why it is so easy for people to easily move on from one relationship to another, because they do not get to have that connection. So connection is something that is quite key for me in relationships. Yeah, maybe we can get on to the other question that was quite similar to this one.
Yes, okay, yes, thank you so much for trying. I took that word, don't try to be a fixer. And by that, I want to assume you mean don't try to always lord your perfect ideal over the other person. Let them be themselves. Give them a voice so you could hear them and then understand where they're coming from. It's easier that way than just say, no, it should be like this, it should be like this, no, you should be doing this, you should be doing this all the time. And they are lost in your control, and you are trying to model them to be someone else instead of bringing out the best out of them. I think that's what you're trying to say by what you said. And so I need to say that clearly, because some other persons in other geographical area might misunderstand it to mean that, okay, if the person is not perfect, just run away. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to, yeah. So I needed to bring it up very clearly so they understand the perspective you're speaking from. So they don't say, what doctor is saying is look for a perfect man, look for a perfect one. If you're not perfect, don't fix anything, run away. All right, so that's a good one. That's a good one. So I'm sure you've had your tons of experiences in terms of relationships, and you've pointed some of them out. Some of the things you're trying to do at some point and all. So now let me ask this question: What's your turn-offs in relationships? Right? You mentioned red flags, yeah. So you personally, as a person, what are those things that are turn-offs for you? All right. You have a turn-off. You think everything is workable. You can always walk around everything, or there are specifics that you say, if it's this area, it's a no-no for me. I can't toe this line. So what are the specific turn-offs you have in relationships?
Okay, so the first one, I may sound controversial, but it's true. I don't like the spiritual people.
I didn't get that.
Okay, so I'll say that I may sound controversial, but the first one is I don't like spiritual people.
Over spiritual people? Okay.
That's the first. That's the first one. So I am a Christian. I am a believer. I am a teacher of the word. I teach the word. And so when I talk about over spiritual people, it's because I have seen how most people spirituality has hindered their relationship and just how it has gotten to how they connect with people. And so that's the kind of, for me, when somebody is too spiritual, it's because there should be a balance. And I look out for that as well. Then the second thing that is a turn-off for me is one that does not have a vision for themselves, one that is literally just waiting to be a submissive partner. You know, I am quite ambitious, so a lot of things that I do require somebody who's able to play along in a way. So if someone has no vision for their life and they're just waiting for somebody to marry them and them to be submitted, I think that's a turn-off, especially for me. That's a turn-off, because it's important that I get to experience that iron sharpens iron in a relationship. So it is very much critical that I get to have that, you know, not really competition. I can't quite competition, but then somebody to keep me on my toes, you know, somebody to keep me on my toes. I think that is quite important for me. Then the third turn-off, again, is one that does not understand feminism. Now, by this, you know how we have a lot of people that are really into feminism now, and they don't get to know the different wirings between a man and a woman. And if I get to have an interaction with somebody that is too much of a feminist and they don't understand the difference in character and just the wiring of a man and a woman, that's a turn-off, because already it shows that we're going to have some challenges moving on at some point. So that is a turn-off. Then the fourth turn-off that I also have is one that is really not outgoing, one that is not open-minded, rather. One that is not open-minded, because we are living in a world where we have a number of things that are happening, and it's important. I think at the beginning I said exposure determines your composure to different things that you get to face in life. So it's important that one is quite open-minded so that they are able to see what they can do and what they cannot do. At least it's important that if one is open-minded, there would be an opportunity to not only think outside the box, but to break the box and be free without the box. You know, you don't only think outside because you may be inside and you're thinking out, but I love somebody that breaks out of the box and thinks freely. So that is also a turn-off. One that is not open-minded, that is a very huge turn-off for me. Maybe these five are the only ones that I would share for now.
All right, that's a whole lot already, and I love the way you arrange them, you know, and picking those points out very clearly, especially the first one over spiritual. That's a very key, a very key one. And like you said, yeah, you might sound a bit controversial, but it's not, for me, it's not controversial, because some persons, I think they sometimes misunderstand the word itself, and they set certain boundaries, which is not it. So, for instance, they see going to a beach, having fun as a sin, kind of. It's not, a Christian shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't I go and relax? It's what's bad in that? You understand? So they become a bit withdrawn because they feel it's not right. You shouldn't be seen in that kind of place. Why shouldn't you be seen? What is bad? What you're doing? So there's this extra, they hold back from the whole world, and they just think it's about only going to church, praying, tying those scarves, and you have to tie your head, you know, and then wear some very, very, how would I put it, kind of clothes that shows that you are very holy. Why? God didn't say you shouldn't look good. God didn't say you shouldn't have fun, so long it's not contravening the words. I think it's fine. So I do understand when you say over spiritual, not like you don't like people who are spiritual, but then when you take it the wrong way, it's not always the best. You won't get to live your life. You look like you're in a cage. Well, that's not what you should be. You should be free express yourself, but still within the tenets of what the word says, which I do understand that perfectly well. So I get those points. So let me now ask this last question, because I think you've taken so much time already in this area of relationship. So what for you are the key ingredients that ensure a good relationship? What are those key things that, okay, these are certainties in relationship? If you want a relationship to stay strong and glued and succeed, these are the things for you. So what are those things? What are those key elements you think makes a very good relationship?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part of the question.
Okay,
You're saying what are the
what are the
areas?
key ingredients that makes a good relationship for you? Those ingredients that makes relationship what it should be: thick, strong, and reliable. What are those things that make that relationship very sound?
Okay, yes. So you would understand that every relationship would have its own dynamics, but then there are some things that literally help different relationships to stay connected, and that is when you understand the secret of togetherness. I call it the secret of togetherness. Now, the secret of togetherness is basically where you get to know that you are a team and you are not coming together to be different people with different sex, but then you are becoming a team. And so if you are a team, there's need for you to have the spirit of togetherness. The first thing about the spirit of togetherness is communication. Now, communication is not literally getting to talk back and forth. Communication is about being effective. Are you communicating what the other partner understands? So communication is very much critical. Now, when we talk about communication, we would then talk about the different languages that we use in communication. One of them is a love language. Okay, so when we talk about love language, it's important that you understand your love language. It's important that you go an extra mile to understand your partner's love language, because relationships are about an effort. So if you don't go an extra mile to understand your partner's love language, you will literally not get to communicate. You would think you're together and you're talking, but you're not communicating. So that's the first thing under the communication aspect. Know your partner's love language and go an extra mile to communicate through their love language. There are people that are simply into it could be gifts and all these things. Get to communicate that, okay? Because that is what their love language is. And the next thing about communication is about apology languages. So it is very key that in a relationship you understand the value and importance of apology, because most times we forsake this. And this is because in love, anything to do with love, and of course love is what keeps a relationship, there is always forgiving and forgetting, right? So if you are going to forgive, it's important that you understand your person's apology language. We all have apology languages. The same way that you have love language, the same way you have an apology language. There are people that do not understand I'm sorry. They will understand if you add on the reason to why you're saying I'm sorry. So you would say, I'm sorry because I did this. You have to acknowledge that what you are saying sorry about is something that you are aware of, because they'll literally ask you, what are you sorry about? And that is their language. They want you to show that you are aware of what you did and you are willing to do something about it. So you need to know that, okay, my partner's apology language is when I show that I am aware that I made a mistake. Or my partner's apology language is when I get to say again. Because there are most people, again, you would apologize and they are still waiting for you to say, I will not do it again, or I will do this to recompense that. This is why most times you'd be in a situation where you did something 2 weeks ago and the lady brings it up again. No, that's why you did this last time. And then you'd be like, but I apologized. You know, you are thinking you apologized, but you didn't communicate the apology language. And so you have to know that the apology language is when I promise to say it won't happen again, or the apology language is when I try to make up, or the apology language is when I state that I did this and this is what I'm apologizing for. I regret what I did. There are others that would not hear your apology if you don't add the word I regret. But there are others that will not hear your apology if you don't, you know, say, okay, please forgive me. If you don't ask them, will you forgive me? Then you haven't apologized. Those are different apology languages. And to those that are watching, if you're interested in getting to learn apology languages, you can, that everybody has. They've been written by the same man, Dr. Gary Chapman, who wrote the 5 love languages. So if you understand these things, you will be able to communicate well. So the other thing about communication as well is reading body language. And this helps even in relationships. You know, there are times that your partner doesn't want to talk, and it happens. Oftentimes we're moody. I'm not attacking the ladies, but I'm saying oftentimes we are moody. And we are moody because of different things. And so it's important that you get to read body language as well. What is she saying, or what is he saying? Is it something that is still on their mind? And you just get to go an extra mile to know. So all these things are part of communication, and communication is key in a relationship. It gets back to what I'm saying, the power or the secret of togetherness. The last thing is that, or rather the last thing that I want to add is that it's also important that we are trusting. Now, in trusting, it comes with you getting to put your life on the line. You are trusting this person because there are a parts of you that you would not share with the world, but then you are trusting them with this very aspect of you. So it's very much critical that you help your partner to know that you trust them. The reason why most people get to cheat, most people get to feel as though they are not loved, is because we don't help them know that we trust them by how we act, how we talk to them, and the kind of secrets that we keep away from them. So it is very much important that you help your partner know that you trust them, that you believe in them. You can do that by the things you say, by the places you take them, and all these things. Then the other thing I think I should add on that is that you also need to do things together. This is one thing that will help you to stay together. So do things together. You may be going out on dates and just exploring, but it's important that you do some other things together. So you may be in different professions. Try to have something that brings you together at least twice or once in a week. Try to have something that will bring you together. It could be business. It could be any recreational things, anything that gets you out of the home to go out and do things together. That is very much critical because it gets to foster and just build the love that you have together. And I think those are the things that I would literally bring out on the friendship relationship.
Oh, wow. That's great. Guys, we had this one today. I'm sure most people didn't know about apology language. You've had it here from the doctor himself. So go and do more research on the apology language. I've always used the love language. Do more research on the apology language and ensure that helps you guys stay together in relationships and all that. Okay, quickly, we'll go to the last segment, which is lifestyle, so we can wrap up. But my audience, this is the time where you can get to ask your questions. So if you have your questions, start dropping them right now in the comment section so he can take them quickly while we take this last segment for the event before we talk about the other goodies he has in store that you guys would need to shop and hop on. Well, at this point, so start dropping your questions in the comment section. I see a lot of persons are here with us. Princess Barbie is here. Chamaka is still with us and she has been dropping comment back to back. I see all your comments and your statements. I also see your question. Don't worry, I'll take a question when the time comes. I also see Olua Tobiloba is here. Also Tionge, I hope I got that. Tionge is here also. The growth strategist is here with us. Thank you for joining us. And so many other persons are here. All of you, we do appreciate you joining us live this evening. Okay, so moving on to the last segment. So please be dropping your questions and make sure you follow Dr. Clinton Kadochi. Of course, you can see his hand right there. Follow him on Instagram. Follow me also on Instagram so that I can get more tips and more value as we move on beyond the life we're having today. But moving on quickly to lifestyle. Let me ask this question. Now, this is more, I can see questions are coming up already. Okay, just keep them coming. We'll take that in a short while. So, on a lifestyle, what is your ideal vacation spot? That's the first one I'm going to ask you. Where's your ideal vacation spot? Where's that place like, I've always want to visit this place and relax and chill, and then refresh and reboot. So, where's your ideal vacation spot?
Okay, so that's an interesting question, and really, I have a number of places that I'm with Peru. I'd like to go to the Maldives Islands as well. That is something that I really plan to visit sometime soon. But at the moment, I think I would love to go to Singapore. I think there are a number of places in Singapore that I would literally just want to visit because of the nature of the place in itself and just the beauty that Singapore has. And so Singapore is one of those countries that I'd love to visit. I've been there, but that was when we're just, getting to change flights. Yeah, but I'd really love to go there. And the next place is France. And France, of course, that would be Paris due to the reputation with being a city of love and things like that. Literally love to be there. Yeah.
I love that Paris. See Paris before you die. You've always been this statement that they say about Paris. And is it the Eiffel Tower? What's that tower that glitters at night, and it's always a lovely place to behold. So that's nice. I envy the places you want to be to: the Maldives, France, and then of course the beautiful Singapore. Maybe I'll join you on some of those trips and have a nice time also with you. Okay, that's nice. So the next one I want to ask you: do you cook or you enjoy eating outside? Do you enjoy eating your own meal or you enjoy eating outside?
So, I do enjoy both. I think I enjoy cooking because I know how to cook. I'm a chef.
Wow.
So I have some that I get to cook, and even when it comes to, let's say, maybe I know that I would want to have something that is, a meal that we would cook together in the kitchen and all that. So I love to cook, I love to bake, but it doesn't get away the need to go out to a restaurant and just enjoy the environment and, get to have a good time outside. So yes, but if I'm to choose, it depends with the person that I'm with. So if I'm with my lady, who would literally go out, but we should also have some time where we'd spend time together in the kitchen. Mm-hmm.
All right, that's nice. Yeah, chef. Lovely. I think you should plan one of those weekends at Zimbabwe, Zambia, so you could have well prepared chef like meal from the doctor himself. He would treat the meals with right prescriptions and the rest of them. Okay, so yes. So still on that lifestyle. One last question before I think there are questions already in the comment section that I can see. Before we take those questions, what are your hobbies? So how do you relax? How do you spend your ideal free time, if you have any at all? So how do you spend them? So what things you like doing aside from teaching, reading, and medical stuff? What else are the things you like doing for fun?
Okay, so this is one thing that a lot of people at times don't get to believe, but I love movies. I'll literally go out to a cinema on my own just to watch a movie and relax. So I love the cinema. I love to watch movies, and just getting out there to just relax, with some of these activities are one of the things that I love to do. But aside that, I love to take long strolls as well. I love to walk in a park and just free my mind away from the activities that I've had. So at least I get to have a day in a week. Back when I was in China, I would literally have at least a day in a week where I'll literally do nothing. I would watch a movie. After that, I would take a walk, and if I have time, I would play a sport. Now, just to add to the things that I also do, I love badminton. I don't know those that know how to play badminton, but I love badminton as well. So it just helps me to, relieve the stress and all that. So that's a sport that I'm into, very good at it, and it just helps me to stretch. There's a way the Chinese people used to play it quite fast, and I got to learn that as well. So I love playing badminton, and it helps me to just stretch out. The other activity that I'm into as well, I don't know if I should add it as an activity, but I do play chess. So chess is one of the games that I play after I've had a busy day. So I get to just think. So I love games that make me analyze, because I'm naturally an analytical thinker. And so I play chess, I play pool table as well, because it just helps me to analyze a number of things. Aside that, I also play Scrabble. Scrabble is basically the game where, make up words and all these things. So anything analytical, that's my area of relaxation as well.
Wow, that's nice. The chess is a very interesting game that I also learned. Remember my very first game I learned, when I first played chess, that was while I was in university. I was defeated. I was given a fool's mate, and it was quite humbling for me at that time. I just learned how to make the moves, and as an excited, I was quite excited about it. And then someone was like, "Oh, you learned how to play chess? Yeah, okay, let's play." And I was like, "Let me show what I've learned." And I was just humbled with the fool's mate, and and it was quite interesting. After that game, I vowed that I was going to defeat that guy before I left university, and it took me about a year, but definitely I think I recorded some victories at the end of the day, and I was quite happy with myself. So chess is a very, very interesting game, very interesting. Scrabble, of course, yeah, it's about words. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic game. And sports, for me, football is my own thing. I love watching football and all that. That's how I relax. Movies, music, it's also a nice one. So that's it from the doctor. So let's get questions quickly from the audience from this section before we allow you share the big thing that is coming up, which you have been keeping for them to hear and read. So I have one from Chemaka right here. She says, let me get that question quickly. Okay, it's not the question. Give me a sec. Okay, your question in relationship, what's your love language? She wants to know what is your love language. So that's the first question. So if you just answer that, what's your love language, before I take get the second one.
Okay, so I have two love languages, which is word of affirmation and physical touch. Those are my two love languages.
I didn't get the second one. I had word of affirmation
and physical touch. Word of affirmation and physical touch.
All right. The next question we have here from Maureen Chabala 2000. She says, what books can one read on personal development? What books can one read on personal development? So do you have books, books that we could read on that? You could share with us.
So books on personal development. The first one that I always recommend is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is now 29 years old. Yeah, this is a book that was written by Dr. Stephen Covey, and it literally has been like my second Bible. And so it is a book that I highly recommend, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and you can get a soft copy and you would literally have a good time reading it. The other one that I'll add on is the other one that I would add on is the purpose-driven life. And if you get these two, you'd literally have a good time to understand a number of things. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is similar to what is emotional intelligence, and are there any books I can read on that? So emotional intelligence, could you share a word or two on that? Emotional intelligence, and if there are books you can also recommend to boost their knowledge.
Okay, so yes, there's actually a book on emotional intelligence. The title is Emotional Intelligence. I've just forgotten the author exactly. But what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is your aware of emotions and also how you could be able to regulate your emotions. So part of emotional intelligence is understanding self-awareness, social awareness, and also relationship management and emotional regulation. So these are the three things that you get to understand under emotional intelligence. Sorry.
All right. I think that's about the questions I have. I don't know if there's another question. Please drop your question. We are at the end of this conversation. So if you have your question, drop it before we wrap up for tonight. That's all the questions I can find here. So Precious Kalunga, thank you for also joining up. So for those who have not followed us yet, follow us right now on Instagram. Follow Dr. Clinton Kadochi for more insights on personal development and, of course, mental health and other things he does. And also follow Lovely Zua, of course, if you want to enjoy more of the behavioral conversation and other things that I also do. So quickly do that so that you would have a swell time. So quickly, we will be going to the last part. We'll be giving you a chance to tell us. I know there's something you are planning. There's, I think, a training or a course that you've cooked up for us. So this is that time where you get to share those things with us. So those who are interested could also, reach out and get them. So what are the things? I know you're working on something that can be of benefit for teaming audience and watching now and those that are going to watch the replay.
Yes, so I'm currently about to release a soft copy book that is on focus mastery. And this is as a result of a masterclass that we had last month. And it was basically about developing the resilience to make weekly progress. And so this is a book that will be able to help you to master yourself, because everything that we do in life depends on where we are focusing on. And so if you're focusing on the positive things, you would develop mastery over life. If you're focusing on the negative things, you develop misery in life. And so this book helps us to understand ourselves, have some good self-awareness, and just know the valuable things in life that we need to work on. And so for those that are here and watching, and if you want to get access to this book at a good price, you can send me an email or a message on Instagram in the next 24 hours. I will be able to give you at least 30% off as a result of being live here. And you would be able to get that book once it's released next week. So that is one thing that I'm giving out. Then the other thing is those that would be in need of therapy, if you have any issues that we'd want to talk about and you need therapy sessions. My therapy sessions are $35, but then because of this session as well, we would get off 30% off. And so if you're in need of that in the next 24 hours, just send me a message on Instagram or email me at clintoncad@gmail.com. ClintonCad with KAD, ClintonCad@gmail.com. You can either send me a message right here on Instagram or send me an email at clintoncad@gmail.com, and we'll be able to get through to you. So these are the few things that I have to give at the moment due to time.
All right, thank you so much. Guys, you've had that, the book that's coming out. You want a soft copy, so you want to join the wait list that gives you a 30% discount because you are here live. Reach out to him in the next 24 hours. If you miss 24 hours, you're not going to get this. And this is strictly because you are part of the BRL conversation. So for those who would also watch the replay and you're hearing this now, before the 24 hours mark ends, reach out to him on Instagram. If you for any reason forget how to reach out to him, reach out to me. I will definitely connect with him, and he would have that list. And of course, again, therapy sessions are important. Most times in Africa here, we do not understand what therapy sessions are. We really undermine that here in Africa. But I think with more knowledge and more exposure, we're getting to understand that certain things that happen could have been handled with just simple therapy situations. Therapy sessions would have just solved some critical issues that would have happened and prevent some damage in future if only you had these therapy sessions and you had your health, your mental health under control and your emotions under control. You would probably go to do certain fly off the handle and do certain things that would make maybe cause a failed relationship, a failed marriage, failed business, failed life, and the rest of them. So simple therapy sessions could solve those problems. So I hope that all those who are going to watch this replay will understand that therapy sessions could help you stabilize those things you think they are actually abnormal. These things could just be a simple therapy session that will solve that for you, and not necessarily go to church and pray countless things. Because sometimes we just think, oh, it's about going to church, it's a spiritual attack, let's go and pray it off. No, it might not just be prayers, it might just be therapy sessions that will solve this for you. So here you have it again. You have a 30% off his regular fee just because you are here live on the BRL conversation. This is what we do, and trust me, this is something you need to cash in on and enjoy the benefits. You have 24 hours again to enjoy this benefit, and after that you miss the 30% discount. Try it once and I am sure you would have no regrets that you had that. So thank you so much, Dr. Clinton Kadochi, for this, for your time. We've taken almost 2 hours already of your time. I'm sorry we exceeded the normal time I agreed, but then when there's so much value to share, I couldn't help but tap as many as we could tap so that the teaming audience could also enjoy from your wealth of experience and your wealth of value that is right there in your head. Okay, so thank you so much once more for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your time, and welcome back to Africa. You're the son of the soil, and we're glad to have you among us. And like you said, you've built networks. Yes, you've built networks also in Nigeria, and we are a living testimony of the networks you have also built right here in Africa. And we're sure that we're going to do great things even as we try to move Africa to the next level. So this is the part where we're going to wrap up events for tonight. It's been a fantastic time with Dr. Clinton Kadochi, and to all those who have joined us, the gifts Kengele, Chemaka Global, Princess Barbie, and everyone, Holistic Dabo, and others who have also joined, who have not been able to mention their names. Yes, there's also a gift also joined that. All those who have joined us and have not been able to mention your name, we appreciate you for joining up. But more importantly, make sure you don't miss out on these 2 amazing discounts that have been said here tonight. And trust me, it's going to be a fantastic experience if you jump on those offers. And that's all we have for tonight. See you again next week Thursday as we bring in another fantastic guest and the BRL conversation. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being here. Quite appreciate it. And good night from here. Bye-bye.